Morning, welcome back to the Genius Multi channel. Hopefully your coffee mugs are full and you're ready to talk about some headlines, take some segues into other comments, and just discuss some current events, and as well as we're going to do what we normally do on here, and that's deviate from the topic probably quite a bit. But first article we're going to want to talk about, I was going to get to this the other day, but got busy. I've been real busy lately just doing other things. Weather turned nice, so I had to go outside and trim trees and take care of the yard. You know how it goes. But check this out. See all those eyeballs staring at you? That's because, as most of you are probably aware, everything you do is out in the open and pretty visible to the man. And we can thank the Patriot Act and SOPA and all those different things for that. But feds are holding a hearing on whether they should regulate sites like Drudge, InfoWars, and the Economic Collapse blog. Somewhere in there's probably the Genius Multi channel, right? I'd like to think so. I would like them to start monitoring me. They probably already are. But here we go. The control freaks that run our government always seem to want to regulate things that they do not like. And so it should be no surprise that there is a renewed push to regulate independent news websites. Sites like the Drudge Report, InfoWars, and the Economic Collapse blog have been a thorn in the side of the establishment for years. You see, the truth is that approximately 90% of all news and entertainment in this country is controlled by just 6 giant media corporations. So, obviously, they don't like some of the things that we talk about, especially when you question their authority and you question just the norm and the information and the news that's being pumped out, the facts and the data, inflation numbers. What I think is great about the internet is it's really seemed to, obviously, if they're fighting it this way and talking about this stuff, it's challenging their stranglehold and their grip, their control on what information is released. And that's awesome, because if you think about it, as soon as radio was invented, they came up with the FCC, licensure, and it became really difficult and expensive to broadcast information over radio waves. But the internet is fairly easy. I mean, here we are. I'm making a video about information, questioning the authorities a little bit, and I can post it up, and everyone in the world can watch it. Yeah, they can try to pull stuff down, but then we have the great benefit of having smart guys out there and people that know how to use computers to mirror videos and duplicate them. Again, please don't duplicate my videos. We all saw what happened with that. But until you know, if you had to, if they were pulling these things down and trying to erase information, that's the time to duplicate and spread stuff far and wide. But the Federal Election Commission is holding a hearing today, and this was last week, to receive public feedback on whether it should create new rules regulating political speech, including political speech on the internet, that one commissioner warned could affect blogs, YouTube videos, and even websites like the Drudge Report. YouTube videos. Here we go. So this is some Soviet bloc, Chi-Com, totalitarian behavior right here. But we live in the freest country on earth, right? You fellow Americans and everything. Yeah, right. I can't even buy a Toyota Hilux here because it doesn't pass Toyota DOT standards and regulations and things. You can get a Toyota Hilux in Afghanistan, but you can't get it here. So, yeah, Afghanistan's freer than we are. Well, then, I love it. I know someone out there just said it. Some little hater. Well, why don't you move there? If you like Somalia and Afghanistan, why don't you move there? That's not the point, tough guy. Point is, I should have the right to own those things here. Okay? Thanks. Freedom and liberty is not about, it's about what you're allowed to do here. And our government just likes to control us a little too much, and it's just been getting worse over the years. Back in the 19-teens and 20s and 30s, you could buy a Thompson machine gun out of a Sears Roebuck catalog. Can't do that anymore. And guess what? There wasn't any mass shootings back then. It's a cultural disease. We have a disease of the mind in this world. In America, anyway. Here we go. Let's get to some good news. This is cheerful stuff. I like these because I'm always hoping this happens to me out there digging, or when I'm sluice boxing it, or metal detecting. I don't have a metal detector yet, but it'd be nice. So here we go. Gold coins are found at the bottom of the sea for a millennium. This is a neat little topic because we can talk about a lot of things regarding gold here. They found some beautiful gold coins off the coast of Israel, it sounds like. And very old, thousands of years old. And the coin collection, I guess they're medieval coins. They're probably about 1,500 years old. 1,000 years at least. Medieval coins were found in the country, accidentally discovered by amateur divers, dating back about 1,000 years. There we go. The find was made 2 weeks ago near the port city of Caesarea and consists of about 2,000 coins weighing about 13 pounds. So it looks like they found some nice, archaic, barbarous relics. They should have just left them in the ocean. They do a lot. But here's what we're going to talk about. Now, here you have a currency that was minted 1,000 years ago. Alright? That purchased goods and services 1,000 years ago. Now, if you take these gold coins out of the surface right now, and I like this little line here, read this. The 2,000 coins did not require cleaning. Okay, because as we all know, gold doesn't rust or it doesn't corrode. So they're the exact weight and fineness they were when they were minted 1,000 years ago. You could weigh these and disregard all numismatic and collectible value. Just go on the gold value. If one of these coins weighs 1/10 of an ounce, it's going to buy you approximately $120 worth of goods today. US dollars worth. So these are still currency. They still have value. You could still transact in these. You could melt them down, have them assayed and struck into other gold coins, ingots, bars, whatever you want. Point is, this currency didn't die. It couldn't die because it was made of gold. If those were little papyrus manuscripts that had the ink signature of like some, I don't know, Jewish head of state or a governor of the region from that time period, the papyrus manuscript would have probably disintegrated several hours after falling into the ocean. And even if they had found that manuscript in a vault somewhere, right now, the promissory note would have never been kept because it's 1,000 years old, the guy's dead, and the entire economic structure had been rewritten and changed. So the point is, timeless. Gold is timeless. You could get your little hoard of gold stuffed away somewhere, happens all the time, and you could fade out of this life. And your kids could have it, and they could fade out of this life and pass it on. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 generations from now, that gold hoard will have economic power. It'll have purchasing power. It'll have clout. Unless, of course, you subscribe to the belief that we went through here a couple of videos ago discussing how gold will one day be absolutely useless, and it'll be something you find in thrift shops, and you'll remember it like it was a Beanie Baby or a BlackBerry. So unless you subscribe to that insane belief, which is insane, then you know that gold will always hold its value and span centuries. It'll span centuries, as you can see right here. So it's comforting to know, no matter what economic situations arise over the last 1,000 years, that little hoard of gold maintained purchasing power and value. And no Keynesian, nobody can argue that fact, because it is a fact. It is. Here we go, moving on to some other little gold news. Reserve Bank India lifts ban on import of gold coins and medallions by banks. We discussed the possibilities of this in a video or two ago. As you all know, there's a pretty big appetite for gold in India, and if they lift these, they lifted these bans, the tariffs and taxes on importing gold, then the demand is going to be a lot easier to meet, because the whole reason they put these tariffs in place was kind of to slow the importation of gold into India, and they put a lot of heavy taxes on it, which caused gold to just end up being smuggled. The black market took over from there. You know, government tries to pass a regulation, and then consumers just find a way to bypass the regulation, and that's exactly what happened. But it looks like they're lifting it, so we're going to see a lot more gold flowing into India a lot easier, which will more than likely drive the price up a little bit in the future. So the government and the Reserve Bank of India have given banks a free hand to import gold, in a move that could increase gold supply. Nominated banks have been allowed to import gold on consignment basis and lend it to local jewelers. Under this system, banks source or borrow gold from international bullion banks and lend the yellow metal to domestic jewelers. The borrowing and the lending rates are fixed simultaneously. It not only enables banks to earn good margin, but also ensures supply to the domestic market. I don't like the sound of this, actually. I mean, look at that. There's government control again. There's, they're letting the banks deal it out and then get interest off of it, instead of allowing people to just transact in the metal and bring it in. See, someone's always got to take it off the top. Someone's always got to get their cut. And it's always the banks or the state. Someone wants to get their money. So, you poor Indians need to, I don't know, figure out how you're going to deal with that. But I'm sure if the interest rates are too big, the black market will continue to exist. So here we go. Cats are running all over here playing, the two of them. Look at this interesting. This is a good little window into American priorities right here. This is a chart that came out just today that I found it. Shows what Americans spend the most money on here and related to these topics. And it was basically an article about the lottery, saying how Americans spend more money buying lottery tickets than they do on books or music. I really don't care about the sports tickets, video games. I mean, sports tickets is cool. At least that's a physical activity you can go watch and have a good family time or something. But pretty amazing. They spend more on lottery tickets than anything. I mean, wow. Imagine if Americans spent that $70 billion every year on gold and silver, copper, platinum, you name it. It definitely holds its value, rather than gambling it away with the false hope of a dream. I mean, if you spent $1 on it, I guess, whatever, but still, playing it. It's a sad state there. But quick peek at oil. We're not going to go too much into this. We all know the trends here, what's happening, the trajectory, and where what it's doing. It's obvious it's dropping. So price of U.S. crude fell sharply as inventories rise. There's just a glut of inventory out there. A lot of oil being produced. Mainland's gold imports from Hong Kong tumble 32% in 2014. We've talked about the Chinese appetite for gold for quite some time, and there's a couple of things that popped into my mind when I read this article. And one of them is we are seeing China's economy slow down, their growth slow down. So with that, I think would come, obviously they're going to have less money. As the economy slows or they see recession coming, there's going to be a little tightening of the belt, and which is going to lend itself to less money being able to be spent on gold in savings. So there's been a decrease in the amount of gold imported from Hong Kong, but there is still being gold imported from other areas. Just we're looking at the Hong Kong import here. It says Chinese demand is stabilizing, and we expect it to hold up this year because people still see value in gold. So it dropped from what it was, but it's kind of stable. And the net exports of gold from Hong Kong to the mainland last year were down from 1,100 tons in 2013 to about 750 tons. And it says estimated annual gold demand in the mainland by 2017, according to an April report by the World Gold Council, is going to be around 1,350 tons a year. So the demand's still there. It just kind of dropped off this year. And again, my theory behind that is the recent slowing of the Chinese economy, which we've already talked about in other videos. Could pick up again, but we shall see. So we're going to get to another good article here. This is interesting. So you little gold hawks out there, we don't use the term gold bug here on the Junior Small P channel, but you gold hawks are being considered crazy. I guess I'll put myself in that category with you all. We're crazy. 25% of physical gold buyers are crazy, Metals executive says. So an executive from Kitco, I guess he was in an interview recently, articles are out there, you can find it, stated that, well, the people that buy physical metal for the reasons that a lot of us buy it are crazy. See, he says a lot of people who buy bits of physical gold aren't looking to make a bracelet or a ring. They buy gold because they believe disaster is imminent. 25% of the gold buyers, she's saying, believe this. These investors are convinced gold will spike to $10,000 an ounce. It's currently around $12.25 when the U.S. government implodes, says Peter Hugg, an executive at metals retailer Kitco. 10,000? I don't think so. Not right now. I mean, it could. Yeah, if hyperinflation hit, we had Weimar-type inflation, yeah, then it would be possible. It's not impossible. It's just not that plausible right now. Hugg calls these people crazies, unquote, and says they form a substantial amount of the U.S. physical gold market, at least 25%. And it's not only U.S., right, guys? I know a lot of you viewers are in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the UK, England. We've got a couple of you guys over there in South Africa. There's people all over the world. Singapore, I've seen stackers who like videos on here and sent me information and talked to me. You guys out there from Singapore, the Philippines. I mean, that's actually, if you come to think about it, we're kind of a global channel, the Junior Small P channel here. That's good. But, so I don't like that he's saying it's just the U.S. people are crazy, they're buying metal. I think it's a global phenomenon. It's no secret that gold has long been viewed as a form of insurance against disaster. Yeah, long been viewed as in about 70 centuries. But the thinking is that even if the financial or political system collapses, gold will still hold value. And that's true, as we just saw earlier. So remember, as we're reading this, picture those gold coins. I'll throw them up again here on the screen to remind you that were just found that are 1,000 years old over in Israel. So the thinking is that even if the financial or political system collapses, which I'm curious how many financial and political systems existed between 1,000 years ago and today, okay, with those gold coins and referencing those gold coins, gold will still hold its value, which it will. So it's not a theory. It's not something that you and I just think about might happen. The fact is, we know that our gold will hold its value if the system collapses. It's a fact of life. It's just the way the metal behaves. It's a rule of law. These investors buy the metal and it just disappears. It goes under their mattresses and they want to use it when the world ends, Hugg told CNN Money. Okay, a little bit of an insulting, kind of egotistical, arrogant statement there because A, I don't think any of us put it under our mattress. It'd be very uncomfortable and ignorant place to put it. And I don't think anyone has ever said the world would end. We're saying the world might change. There might be a sea change. There might be a reset. No one is saying that a catastrophic meteorite is going to plunge itself into the Earth's crust and mantle and split the Earth in two and just destroy all life on here and we're going to go extinct. No one has ever said the world's going to end, right? You guys agree? Okay. It's just that there's going to be economic upheaval. So let me ask you this. Has economic upheaval ever occurred in the history of mankind on the planet? Okay. Has it occurred in the previous century, from 1900 to the year 2000? Was there any times where there was economic upheaval, hyperinflation, currency devaluations, starvation in any countries related to that, and economic resets? Yeah, exactly. South America, Asia, Africa, Europe, Russia, everywhere, Belarus. The list is endless. I've put the list up on this channel before. So, we want to use it when there's not a world ending, but an economic reset of that magnitude, which in all facts has happened. He has to admit that. You admit that. I admit. We all know it's true. So we got some defense out of the article. There were some, okay. Irrational fears or smart safeguards. Peter Schiff, an outspoken gold investor for years, said this characterization of gold buyers is unfair. The fears of an economic collapse in the United States are not irrational. I think it's more irrational when people are complacent that nothing can go wrong, Schiff told CNN Money. It's tough to second guess those who bet on gold before the meltdown of Lehman Brothers in September of '08. Prices spiked from around $800 an ounce in late 2007 to more than $1,800 in 2011 as central banks raced to stabilize the financial system and get out of the Great Recession. And that was just a precursor, I think, a warning of what could potentially occur in the Western economies, in the world, for that matter. So that is being too fearful. That is being too fearful, and maybe obsessed with it. But is that any less irrational than the person who owns no gold whatsoever? So I think what his point is there is, it's just as irrational to own a lot of gold thinking the world's going to end, which I don't really believe is that irrational at all, than owning no gold and betting that the world will always continue to be as prosperous and fruitful and stable as it is now, if not more so. It's always going to be, just rainbows and unicorns and butterflies all the time. The world's just a beautiful, dreamy utopia. And we're so enlightened now because of the internet and all of these great things that it's just always going to be good because no bad things can happen. To me, that's a toddler mindset. It's just ignorant. If anything, the world's looking like it could be potentially worse. And it's not a very healthy economy. It's not a very healthy society right now. Like we said earlier in the video, there's a disease out there. A disease in the mind. A lot of violence is happening. A lot of upheaval. Don't want to talk too much about the Greek exit in Euro, but we all know that's in the news. It's happening. Greece is probably going to get the boot. Alrighty, we'll leave you guys with some homework. We'll close on this. Neat little article, neat little blog. Sheep to the Slaughter, Andrew Hoffman, published February 18th, 2015. So it was out yesterday. If you want to read it, go ahead, look it up. You guys know how to use the internet. You found yourself here. But thanks for being here. Thanks for viewing the Junior Small P channel. Sorry it took a couple days off. No videos came out. News was slow. But if anything big pops up, I'll pounce on it and post it. And thanks for joining us. Thanks for the conversation, sticking it out, sitting through a long video. As always, pop your comments below. Join the conversation here. And don't forget to thumb it up, give it a like if you do, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Alrighty, appreciate it.